Students at home, are you all with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Do you all know I was sharing a slide just now that you all never see? If you can't see the slide, please let me know in advance. Huh? I was not sharing the slides. I just realized. Can you all see the slides at home?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. Don't read my WhatsApp, please. Thank you. All right, come. All right, now the first chapter, we are looking at the first chapter. Now, this first chapter looks at the background of management accounting. Now, if you compare management accounting and financial accounting through my personal experience and expertise, I will still prefer management accounting because you know why? It is not as rigid as financial accounting. You see, financial accounting is actually confined within a certain number of rules and regulations. Correct or not? Can you record your transactions however you like? You have to follow the accounting concepts. Correct or not? You have to follow the double entry concepts. You must properly classify them. Correct? But please take note that management accounting is more towards internal report. I believe in ACC 101, you have seen this term called general purpose report and special purpose report. Yes or no? Management accounting is a special purpose report that is used by the management for their internal use. All right, so let's see, let's dissect the word. Your ACC 103. Management accounting. Now, have you done MGT 101? Done, right, all of you? Can you tell me what is the function of management? I don't mind waiting. I got class until 6 o'clock. I give you time to think. Student at home, what is the role of management? Don't Google. You know, if I drop a pin now, I can hear where the pin is falling down. What is the role of a management? Okay, I need a favor. Do you have a piece of paper? No paper. No, okay. Okay. Anyone got a piece of paper? A4 paper, big one. Okay, you don't mind donate it to me? Write down the name, write down your name, and then pass around the paper. After this, I'm going to call the name easier. So I don't randomly ask you all. The only name I know here is Aishwarya. So let me get to know more of you. I know her because she's my student committee. Okay, come. What is the role of management? Yes, boy, the black t-shirt. Yeah, Adidas. Okay, control, but control, what is the processes in the management? Control is one of the elements, correct not? But what are the elements in management function? But before organizing? Organizing, controlling, PLOC, correct or not? Correct or not? The role of a management is to plan, lead, organize, and control. Correct? So the thing is, what you're learning is the same thing. You are going to learn about planning, leading, organizing, and controlling. Why? Because management need this function in order to attain their vision, mission, goals, and objective of an organization. Correct or not? So in order for them to plan, lead, organize, and control, they need a tool. They need a tool, and that tool is what we're going to learn now in management accounting. So management accounting is basically reports or tools that are used by the management to actually assist them to make decisions. For an example, you need to prepare budget to plan your future action. Yes or no? Yes, you need to calculate your break even to determine how many units you're going to buy and sell. Are you with me? So basically, you're going to use the tools in accounting to help you make decision. That is why personally, I would always say management accounting is actually more relevant to non-accounting, especially marketing, business admin. People think management accounting is for accountants. No, I would say financial accounting is more towards accountants. All right, management accounting is more towards management people. That is why you notice any program that you do with regards to business, there will be management accounting there. All right, but again, the information that we use in this management accounting is still derived from financial accounting. There is still a link between financial and management. Are we clear? So now you know what is management accounting by the title itself. All right, moving on. So you can see here, managerial accounting is basically the process of identifying, measuring, analyzing, interpreting, and communicating information. Does these words, terms, sounds familiar to you? Have you seen the similar kind of definition in ACC101? The girl number 3. Yes, correct or not? It's a similar definition. Now, how do you identify? How do you identify transactions? Let me do a recall of ACC101. If can, I'll call around Mr. Chandran to come in also. Yes, come tell me. How do you identify transactions? The student right at the back with the black t-shirt. Yeah, Dotan. Yeah, you. How do you identify transactions? Don't know. Pujutao. You cannot like that lah. How do you identify transaction, boy? You learn in ACC 101, right? You all did. Okay, anybody did not do ACC 101? Okay, all of you did. Yeah. How do you identify transactions? Too bad you said in front of me. Hey, don't know. Ayo. How do you identify transactions? Oh my God. Let me call Mr. Chandran. Oh, not so bad lah. Leng Chai with the hood. Yeah, don't. People at home, how do you identify transactions?
Journal entry.
Journal entry is the process, but before you get into the journal entry, how do you identify that the transaction have taken place? How do you prove to your dad that you have paid your fees? Your father give you 1,600, come and pay the fees. You go back home, you tell him, I paid the fee. He say, okay, no problem, very good. Does he tell you that? What he ask you? Receipts, documents. Documents are the source information for recording, for identifying a transactions, correct or not? You don't do verbal transactions. Every single transactions are identified through source document. That is where you go on to the next level, where you measure, you analyze, whereby you classify, and then eventually you interpret, and finally you communicate. To whom do you communicate? To group of people. Who do you communicate financial information to? Ouch. You all forgot your ACC 101 already. Okay, let me give you a good news. If you have forgotten ACC 101, please go and revise, because if you are an accounting major or finance major, you will see this lecturer called Madhavan again in ACC 203, which is Financial Accounting 2, where he will rip you off. And you know who's that Madhavan? Me. You cannot forget your basics. You cannot forget your basics. Your basics are important. Are we clear? So who are the two group of people that we communicate? Internal users and external users. But management accounting is used more towards internal users, the sales department, the production department, the owner for himself to manage the entire business. Yeah. Moving on. So an organization, basically what they do is they will acquire resources and organize a set of activities by actually hiring people. So this is where you notice they have the process of planning, directing, controlling, and making decisions. So for all these processes, you need a tool. You need a tool. Those are the tools that we are going to see from now till the end of the semester. All right. Moving on. So what is the objective of managerial accounting activity? Number one, provide information for decision making and planning. For an example, you are going to start a production. You're going to start a production. One of the most important thing you need is the material. Yes or no? Do you randomly go to any supplier and buy the material, or would you actually plan your production first of all? How much material you need? What is the cost you're anticipating? Then only you will look for the material, isn't it? So that's where in management accounting, what we do is we provide information to the manager. All right. Next, assisting managers in directing and controlling activities. Directing is basically organizing the activities, and controlling is where you will start comparing your actual results against your estimated results. If you don't have proper planning, will you be able to determine whether your action is reliable or not? For example, I plan to produce 20,000 shoes with the material I purchased, but I actually produce only 15,000. Now something is wrong, correct now? Because you plan something higher and you end up producing something lower. So there is a problem. You know there's a problem because what you plan and what was actually executed is totally two different things. But let's say you did not plan, you randomly start, you produce 15,000. Now, are you able to determine whether it's good or bad? There's nothing to fall back on. Are you with me? Next one, motivating managers and employees towards the organization's goal, because you know that if you achieve a certain thing, there will be a reward. Next, measuring performance of sub-units, activities, managers and other employees within the organization. So these tools can actually help you to measure the key performance of departments and employees within the organization. And finally, assessing the organizational competitive position and working with managers to ensure that the organization's long-term competitiveness in the industry. Because the success of an industry, the success of a company is fully dependent on how they manage internally. The success starts internally, not externally. So if internally it is not well managed, then there will always be a problem in terms of competing against the rivals. Are you all with me? Yes, Kenna? Am I going too fast? Anybody feels that I'm going too fast, speaking too fast? The girl with the white mask. Yeah, you. Yes. Is it too fast? Sure. Okay. Okay, next we have balance scorecard. I don't want to go into balance scorecard in depth because this is something that you'll be learning in your ACC101. But in general, what we do is, how do we look into the financial perspective? How do we look to the owners and provide them a dimension on how the business have performed financially? In terms of which activity must we excel, operative perspective. How to improve and create value, that's an innovation perspective. You notice iPhone have always been improving to fulfill the demand of people. Correct. So the innovation comes in. So how I can fulfill that? Next, how do customers see us? Am I an ethical company? All right. Moving on. This is just a glance. Okay. Managerial versus financial accounting. Okay. This is something like ACC101 versus ACC103. Simple word you see here. Managerial accounting is mainly information for decision making, planning, controlling and organizations activity, which is for internal users. But financial accounting basically publishes financial reports, especially for external users like tax authorities, potential investors, bankers, suppliers and creditors. Correct now? So here you need to have a rigid information which is more reliable. All right. But in terms of management accounting, things are not very rigid. Why? I give you an example. I am a company that produces shoe. He is a company that manufactures bag. Now, the information that I require from my fellow team and the information that he requires from his fellow team, is it going to be the same? No. So it's always customized. They will prepare report according to how I want, what I want. But in profit loss statement and balance sheet, can you do what the users want? No, it is a complete set of financial statement which is following the accounting standards. All right? Okay, good. So somehow I will tell this, when you do management accounting, your level of mathematical knowledge should be quite strong. Okay, which means that you need to, okay, when I talk about mathematical knowledge, is this easy or difficult? This is easy or difficult? This is differentiation, right? Dy dx. This is integration, right? This is function, right? All these are maths, correct not? Yes, but trust me, you don't need all this knowledge. You only need this knowledge. That's it. So don't worry. But your maths must be good. Your maths must be slightly good, because sometimes you even see algebra, like 1 plus 2, 1 plus a equals to 3. How is a? Even that, because you know why I'm telling this may sound a joke to many, but let me tell you something. I have seen many students cannot do it. All right, so I'm alerting you in advance. I'm alerting you in advance. Certain level of mathematical knowledge is required, especially for these papers, examination and test. Mark my word, so please be extra careful. All right, so next one, the differences in terms of users of information. Managerial accounting is people within the organization, especially the managers. But for financial accounting, the interested parties are people outside the organization, like what I mentioned earlier. Now, is there any regulation in preparing report related to managerial accounting? No. Why? Because these are customized report to the needs of the person who is requesting for the information. All right? But in terms of financial accounting, it is required to follow the regulation whereby you must conform with the GAAP, Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. You must strictly follow the accounting standards. Why? Because your report is supposed to be reliable. All right? Next, the source of data for managerial accounting can come from many different perspectives, either from past, I don't know why suddenly Zoom came up. Okay, so you see here, every single information here you obtain from internal itself. But for financial accounting, almost exclusively drawn from the organization's basic accounting system, which accumulates information. Remember your journals, your ledgers, then you do your adjustments and all those things. Finally, nature of reports and procedures. Report for management accounting basically focuses as an organization, as a whole, as a department, as a subunit, as a project, as an activity. It is all customized. But for financial accounting, it is usually representing the performance, the position of a company by itself as a whole, whereby people will be able to determine how well the company has performed. Are we clear? Are you able to see the difference between management accounting and financial accounting? Can you see things that you should be expecting in management accounting? Very much mathematics. All right, guys, are you all with me so far? You guys look very blurred. It's either I'm too fast or I'm speaking some native language. Which one of this? I can't hear you. Hello? Are we together? Okay. Aishwarya is appointed to represent the class. So when Aishwarya say yes, I assume all of you yes. Okay. Really? Sure you. The girl say yes. Never, never. Represent your own self. Always remember that. Don't let off your rights. Okay, let's move on. Next one. So these are the different positions. We have people which we call line position and staff position. Now all these key terms are very, very useful. All these key terms are very, very useful because you need to know different definitions, because all these definitions will be used in your upcoming classes. So a line position is directly involved in the provision of goods and services. These are people who are directly engaging themselves in the production activity itself. Whereas staff's position are usually the support team, such as supervisors, okay, such as managers, such as accountants. Are you guys with me? So that is where I rarely quite disagree of supervisor being here. Why? Because supervisor don't produce the chair. Supervisor ensures the production process goes on smoothly. Are you guys with me? So can you see the difference between, okay, now let me ask you something. Do you think I'm a line position or staff position? What do you think of myself? Do you think I'm a line position or staff position? I'm a line position, correct or not? Because I'm getting down to the field and teaching you. Who is a staff position? Who would you consider to be the staff position? Kak Suraya, correct or not? Kak Hazar, you know, the technician, the dean, the CEO, the chancellor, these people are the staff position. So it's important for you to differentiate between line position and staff position. All right, moving on. Okay, these all are less important lah. Not say less important, it's more of general perspective. CFO or controller, this person is responsible for supervising the entire accounting personnel and accounting activities within the organization or factory itself. Okay, then you have a treasurer. A treasurer is also someone who can be called as accountant. All right, these people are responsible in safeguarding the company's asset. Next, you have auditors. The role of an auditor is to ensure every single thing is done according to the standard operating procedures. You know, there's a set of SOPs. This is the do's and don'ts within the organization. So internal auditors ensures whether these certain guidelines are being followed. Now, next one. Next one is the value chain concept. You understand this value chain concept? Thank you, dude. Thank you. Anyone have not written down your name? Alexander and Ganzihao. Who is this? Alexander Ganzihao. 33, 34 is behind already. Okay, so we have 45 students plus 3 online. Yeah, 3 online. Okay, good. Okay, now I got name list to call. All right, come. So this strategic value chain and this strategic cost management and value chain is actually the entire process of how the production starts, the activity starts, till the end process where product has gone to the customers. All right. So this is where you see it starts with securing the materials and other resources such as labors, and then using the research and development team, products are designed, eventually products are produced. Once products are produced, it will be marketed, and once it's marketed, it's distributed to the customers, and customer service will handle any after sales inquiry. So this is the entire complete value chain. All right, so this is where if you observe very carefully, how much do you think a Coca-Cola small bottle costs? How much do you think a small bottle of Coca-Cola? No, sir, we are very good student. We only drink plain water in our entire life. Do you all drink Coca-Cola? Coca-Cola? Pepsi, Pepsi? You drink, right? How much is it? How much is Pepsi bottle? No, sir, I get it for free, sir. Okay, thank you. Which shop gives you free? Tell me. Girl, how much is a Coca-Cola? 1 to 2 ringgit. Okay. Now let's see here. This is where you see the power of value chain, the traditional distribution chain. Something that is sold at 2 ringgit. Do you think over here the actual cost was actually 2 ringgit? where you see a huge argument why customers will have to bear the cost. Okay, let's not talk about it now, but this is something that is critically discussed when you do your management accounting 2 and management accounting 3. So for that, you need to understand the entire processes. Boy, can hear me? Can, huh? Okay, good. Moving on. Now, these two things. Theoretical capacity, practical capacity. Now, what is this theoretical capacity and practical capacity? Theoretical capacity, always remember, it is always the best, the perfect ones. But in the real world, can perfect take place? No. So, although there are theoretical capacity which is presented in a company, the guideline will always use practical capacity, because practical capacity will take into account various other external factors. Do you understand? For an example, I can produce 100,000 units without fail every month. Okay? Now, when I say I confirm can produce 100,000, do you think it's a theoretical capacity or practical capacity? Theoretical, correct now? But if I'm being practical, I will say, okay, my factory is placed in this area in, let's say, Kuala Kubu Baru, Selangor, and here every week got at least 5 hours power shutdown. Okay, now, do you think my theoretical capacity can be fulfilled? No, right? So I can say theoretical capacity, my company has the capacity of producing 100,000 units every month. But based on the practical capacity and surrounding other factors which has constant pay electricity cuts, I can only produce 80,000. So that is practical capacity. So when people operate their activity, they will always fall back on practical capacity rather than theoretical capacity, because theoretical capacity is promising without substantial evidences. Are you guys agree? Can, yeah? Okay, I know it's getting boring, but just bear with me because you still have 8 more slides of theory before you start seeing numbers. Okay? Well, even the next slide, I mean the next chapter also, you have about half of them are slides still. I mean a theory, yeah? Okay, next one. So question about capacity, important questions that for the managerial accounting system to address are: what is an organization's practical capacity? What are the costs of resources supplied to provide that capacity? And how have those resources been used to create value? So a lot of, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of decisions are always made based on practical capacities. All right, moving on. Managing capacities. Cost of resources supplied minus the cost of resources used will lead to unused capacity. Now, if let's say your practical capacity is 80,000 and you end up producing 90,000, good or bad? Good, right? But your practical capacity is 80,000, you end up producing 50,000, is it good or bad? Now, can you complain anything else anymore? There's nothing to complain, correct now? Because if you go lower than the theoretical capacity, then that's not an issue because there's an external factor. But when you talk about practical capacity, you have already taken into account all potential influences, external influences, correct? So if you perform below the practical capacity, this basically leads to queries. All right, are you with me? Okay, I know it's getting bored. People are starting WhatsApp. My class is boring because I see hands moving. Okay, thank you. I'm very observant, huh? So please be careful. So, management accounting as a career. Now, this management accounting as a career is actually, I won't say new. It's not much sought after because a lot of them majors in financial accounting, whereby you go to financial reporting, you go to auditing, you go to taxation. Very rarely people get into management accounting, but these people have a very good, powerful analytical skills. All right. So you see, you have what do we have here? We have Institute of Management of Accountants. What they do is, number one, they publishes management accounting research and studies, administer certain certified management accountant program, and also develop standard ethical conduct for management accountants. Now, How important can these people be? These people are very, very important in controlling the internal activity. All right. Okay. That is why you notice there's a course called CIMA, Chartered Institute of Management Accounting. These are professionally certified. You become a certified management accountant. All right. Moving on. The last two slides, ethics. Now, I believe you have done ethics in your ACC101 already, right? Yes or no? Last slide in your ACC101, chapter 1. Okay, past tense. Okay, never mind. Ethics is something, the do's and don'ts within the organization, irrespective of what your activity is, what business you are, what company, what industry, what sectors you are. Ethics is something that you must strongly adhere to. Why? Because it ensures, excuse me, competence, confidentiality, integrity, and credibility. Reliable. The information is reliable. Your actions can be accounted for, can be relied upon. All right? Done. Question. We finished chapter 1. Any question? Any question? Okay. I have question. Put up your hand. I don't have question. Put up hand. Sir, do you exist in front of the class? Put up hand. Is there class going on? Put up hand. Why you all look so zombie? Are you all okay or not? Is this your first class in the whole semester? Yes or no? No. Ini kelas keberapa? Second class, third class, fourth class? What are you thinking? Third class. Were you all quiet like this? Why? Don't worry, I'm not leng chai for you all to be shy. No need to worry. Kautim, I like happening class. I'm telling you something. Last semester, my one, or I shouldn't use this word comparison, but I'm not comparing by any chance. But I'm telling you, my last semester was hyper. My last semester was hyper. All right. So please talk to me. Please talk to me. I assume first class you are very quiet. Students at home, any questions? Students at home?
So far, so good.
So far, so good. Who just came in? Cham Mingjun, you just came in. Mingjun, are you okay? Mingjun, are you okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Okay. Vinitrat Yiting, are you okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Chiu Jiaxuan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, Peng Muzu?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fantastic. Just checking you all around, huh? Okay, good. Do you want a break? Yes? I will give you a break if I hear maximum 45 of you say yes. If no means no break until 6 o'clock. I'll do chapter 2, chapter 3 until I finish 6 o'clock. Do you want a break? Yes. Take 5 minutes. No, 5 minutes. No, take 15 minutes, okay. Take 15 minutes. You know why? Because after this, I'm going to do chapter 2, and that chapter 2 is very, very important because I'm going to teach you basic concepts that you'll be using throughout the semester. Ken? 15 minutes, yeah?
Yes, extremely desperate APA workshop manager. Yes, sir. I was sending a post. Sorry.
You want seminar? I can do now. Yeah. What's up?
What's that ready, sir? Okay. Gerald wants it today itself.
Today itself.
Yeah, because the day psychology is trying to put something into.
Oh. You guys okay with it now? You guys okay with
No problem.
it? Because the mist.
This is the the broadcasting device. Sir.
No, lah, this is the speaker. I don't use the device. I use this one.
Same proposal here.
Same. Yeah. She went out for a break. Oh, the class very quiet lah.
Very good.
Very quiet.
Where is Aishwarya, our orientation?
She went out for break.
It's nice to have it.
Oh, seriously,
I
damn
used to
useful.
buy that thing really.
For me, thank God, it's no, not comfortable for exam.
Cannot use it for exam and all that.
So if you like handwriting your paper.
Yes,
I like handwriting my paper.
Yeah.
Alright, got it.
done. Sent. Welcome.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, is it 15 minutes? Dana? Okay, good.
This is lecture 202.
No, this is ACC103.
But the
Oh, Silva, the class.
Oh,
1.6.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's only moved to the other side.
Okay, so thank you, sir.
We exchanged the class.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Okay, come, let's continue. Okay, let me ask y'all something. Are y'all okay with me sitting down and teaching you here? Can I? Or you prefer me walking? Because if I start walking, the camera cannot track the home-based students, and furthermore, writing it on the board, it may become very rigid for all of you. All right. Now, student at home can hear me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, very good. Okay, we're going to resume. But before we resume, I just want to share something. I was going. Hello. Okay. I was going around talking to a few just now. Okay, some of you said I'm quiet because I am shy. Right? Now, let me just share with you something. I give you a very good example. For me, in my entire life, I mean, I've been in health for about 14 years. This is my 14th year. When I started teaching in Subang 7 years ago, I had this one student. No, she's from Funyu, JB. Okay, her name is Lau Wai Ling. Okay, I don't know whether you know her. She would have been a super senior to all of you. Okay, she was the second batch of in Subang 2. One thing I liked about her, I taught her ACC 101, I taught her ACC 103. So when I was doing 101 with her, this girl has a very, very poor English command. So she always say, sir, I'm very shy to ask in the class because my English no good. I say, so what? Your courage to come out and ask question, that itself is very good. So from then on, every time she'll ask question from where she's seated. Okay, and when I taught her ACC 103, I used to teach her in MPH. You know where's MPH? Have you ever seen MPH? Okay, MPH is a big hall. And that time when I taught her, there was 167 students in the hall. She will always put up hand and ask in front of the 167 students. So what I did was I managed to break that thing in her that all you need is confidence, whether your English is good or bad, is the confidence and willing to learn. And you know, after she finished her year 2, you know where she went? She went to UQ with scholarship. Now, you tell me, someone who say my English is very bad in UQ, is it possible? It's because of the confidence, correct or not? Yes or no, guys? So the same thing I would like to tell all of you. Don't worry, I am not here to determine your English. But all we know that when you leave Help University, you're going out someone with very high level of confidence. Are you with me? Are you with me? You see, you have an advantage against me. Your Chinese is better than mine. Obviously, your Chinese, you know Chinese, I don't know Chinese. Correct or not? So every one of us have our advantages and limitation. Understand? So always look the positive part of your own self. I want that. I want that will take you far by opening the mouth. Can? Can? Okay, this is one thing I'll always tell my class students. Assume Madhavan is always blind. What does it mean? When I ask question, you do like that, I cannot hear, I cannot see. So my question is, do you understand? I thought got 45 here. Do you understand? Let's move on. Chapter 2. Okay, chapter 2, follow closely with me because chapter 2 is basic cost concept. Basic cost concept, the terms that you will use in your entire syllabus. So if you observe here, right? Okay, so managers need cost information to actually perform each one of these functions. So for them to perform, do you see what I don't see? Okay, so management needs this cost information to actually perform each one of these functions, from planning, controlling, making decision, directing, and also formulating strategies. So this cost is actually a very important element for you to use them. So what is the meaning of cost? Cost is basically a measure of resources given up to achieve a particular purpose. Now, if you recall back your ACC 101, this is also the definition for expenses. Correct enough? Expenses are basically costs that have been sacrificed in order to perform an activity. So similarly, what is a cost? It is a measure of resources that have been given out to achieve a particular purpose. Now, I got 4 empty slides. Okay, these 4 empty slides, I am going to write each and every one of the costs that you will need to know, and subsequently everything is actually inside here, but I would rather you look at it from a very macro perspective. All right, so let's go one by one. So when you talk about cost, we have 2 different type of cost. One, we call it direct cost. The other, we call it as indirect cost. Now, what is the difference between direct cost? Can you hear behind? What's the difference between direct and indirect cost? Direct costs are costs that can be directly associated to a product. You can trace the cost of that into the product. Are you with me so far? I give you an example. We have costs where we have costs related to material, costs related to labor, costs related to overheads. So I will use material first. I will use material first to explain to you the concept of direct and indirect. Now, direct cost is cost that can be directly traceable to the product. This one is cost that cannot be traced to the product. Now, what are costs that are traceable? What are costs that are non-traceable? Now, you have a table in front of you, correct or not? You have a table in front of you. Can you tell me what are the materials that is required to produce or to manufacture that table that you see in front of you? Can you give me? There's a table in front of you, right? Okay, good. What are the materials there in the table? Hello? You have the wood, plastic, somehow the metal. Yes or not? Yes or no? Then you may have used paint, you may have used glue. So this, all of this may be the cost of material for a table. Now, but out of this cost that I've listed down there, wood, plastic, metal, paint, and glue, which one is direct and which one is indirect? Now, look at my example. To do one table, I need to use 3 meters of wood. To do one table, I need to use 3 meters of wood. And each meter costs me 5 ringgit. Now tell me, how much is the cost of wood per table? 15. Yes or no? So can I trace the cost of wood directly to my table? Yes. To do the table, I need 10 meters of metal piece. I need 10 meters of metal piece, and each per meter, the cost is 3 ringgit. Now, how much is the cost of metal for one table? 10 times 3? 30. So can I trace the cost of metal to the product? Yes? Okay, good. Now, next one. That metal need to be painted. Yes or no? I buy one whole drum of paint, and that whole drum of paint is 100 ringgit. And now I'm going to paint that particular metal piece. How do you paint? Take a brush and paint. Can you determine how much paint you have used? You can't. Can you? You can't. Correct now. So therefore, can you trace the cost of the paint to the table? No, right? That becomes indirect material, indirect cost. Now you see on the table top part, there is a black color things there, correct or not? On the side. And that one is definitely glued. Yes, which means one of your material is glue. You buy one bottle of glue worth of 50 ringgit. How much glue you use there? Do you measure the glue before you use it? As long it sticks, that is it. That's it or not? Can you measure how much glue you have used? No. Then it becomes indirect material. Are we clear? But if you come and tell me, no, Madhavan, in my factory, glue is direct. How? One table, I use one bottle. One table, I use one bottle. Now, can I call it direct material? Can I not? So you see, what might be direct material in this company may be indirect material in that company. That is why I say it's subjective. You cannot go to your company, one day you work, you go argue with the factory. Who said glue is direct material? My lecturer, Madhavan, say glue is indirect. Do you understand? So here, it is important for you to understand the concept of direct and indirect. As long as you cannot trace it, it becomes indirect. If you can trace it, it becomes direct material. Are we clear? Can I understand? Okay, similarly, okay, so we have direct, material, indirect, okay. Student at home, are you able to see me?
It's okay.
Okay, good. Now let me move on. Huh? Okay, next one. Next one is labor. Labor can also be divided into direct and indirect labor. Now, who are direct laborers? Direct laborers are people who is cutting and assembling the table. You know, the person who cuts the wood, puts the wood, fix the metal, paints the metal, and eventually finish the product and put it in the store. These are direct laborers. So cost of direct labor, for example, it takes 5 hours to complete 5 direct labor hours to complete the table, and I pay my laborers 5 ringgit an hour. I pay 5 ringgit an hour. Sitting in the wrong class. Finance, ah? Next class. Okay. So how much is the cost of direct labor to my table? To do one table, I need 5 hours. And my labor, I pay them $10 per hour. So how much is the cost of labor to the table? $50. Are you guys with me? So we have direct labor. Okay, next we also have indirect labor. Now, who is indirect labor? You know the supervisor, you know the manager, you know the department head, you know the cleaner, the engineer, the technician, all these people, do they manufacture the product? No, but what they do, they ensure that manufacturing process goes on as planned. They ensure the efficiency of production. So the salary that is received by indirect labor becomes indirect cost. So we have indirect labor. Are you all okay with me so far? And apart from that, we also have other overheads. Now, what is this word overhead? Overheads are basically all your indirect costs, manufacturing overhead. MOH stands for manufacturing overhead. What is manufacturing overhead? Manufacturing overheads are all indirect cost. Okay, so what goes under manufacturing overhead? Indirect material, indirect labor, factory rental, factory utilities, factory insurance, factory maintenance, factory non-current asset depreciation, factory supplies expense. So you see, what is the keyword I'm using here? Factory, which means they are involved in the process of converting raw material into production. It's just that this cost cannot be directly traced to the product. Are we clear? Because if you look into a factory, if you look into a complete factory setting, you have the factory, you have the office, the other side, the selling office and all those things, correct or not? So what you see in the factory is what we call production cost. Whatever you see outside the factory, which is the sales department, the admin department that is all related to factory, these are your operating expenses that you see in your profit and loss statement. Do I make sense to all of you? Do I make sense to all of you? Am I going fast? Anybody wants me to re-explain? Put up your hand. No, because you know why? I'm going to mark one by one. First term that you know is direct cost. Second term is indirect cost or manufacturing overhead. Next, you have direct material, direct labor, and then you have all other overheads. Okay? And all of this, all of the direct costs and all of the indirect costs, we will actually group them together and we will call them We call them product cost. What do we call them as? Product cost. So what is the meaning of product cost? Product cost means cost of the product. Remember, in management accounting, question is the answer. So what is product cost? Product cost is cost of the product. How do we determine the product cost? Your direct cost plus indirect cost. So I'm giving you mathematical formula, yes or no? So I'm going to give you multiple formulas revolving this particular direct cost and indirect cost. Okay, which gives you the same answer, but it is called with different names, whereby it will be applied differently in different chapters. For an example, number 1. How do you determine your product cost? You can say, I take my direct cost plus my indirect cost. Yes or no? Yes or no? Number 2, I can say, I take my direct material plus my direct labor plus my manufacturing overhead. Are you with me? Are you all with me? Okay, number 3, I can also say prime cost plus manufacturing overhead. Now you'll be wondering, what is the meaning of prime cost? Prime cost basically means direct material plus direct labor. Are you with me? Prime cost basically means direct material plus direct labor. Are you all with me? Yes? One more formula. Number 4, we also call it a direct material plus conversion cost. What is a conversion cost? Conversion cost basically means direct material, so direct labor plus manufacturing overhead. So you see here, same result, but can be calculated 4 different ways. Yes or no? Can see? Can you all see? Too light. This ink is too light, is it? Okay, I won't use it. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So same detail. I want product cost. How many ways I can calculate my product cost? 4 different ways, because it all depends on what kind of information have been given to us. Okay, sometimes you are given your material cost, your labor cost, and your overhead cost. Then you can take the question, they write there, prime cost 20,000, manufacturing overhead 10,000. Then how much is product cost? 30,000. Product cost. Are you all with me so far? Yes or no? Yes, all this important, prime cost, the one I circled, the prime cost, and something is not right in my digital pattern, right? Okay, and your conversion cost. Are you with me so far? Okay, can I give you one more new term? Product cost is also known as inventoriable cost. Product cost is also known as inventoriable cost. Now, what do you mean by inventoriable cost? Cost of inventory, which means that this cost of inventory can be part of your cost of goods sold. You see, in ACC 101, you were learning about business that buy and sell. This semester, you're looking at you produce and you sell. So when you produce and sell, that becomes your inventory, isn't it? So how do you determine your inventory value? Your inventory value is equals to product cost. So inventoriable cost, product cost, It's the same thing. You see, all these are terms that you will see. You see, why I decided to write like these are, all these are things that you will not see in the slide given by the book. So I'm making it very detailed so that you don't lose even a single word that we use in exams. Kautim? Are all of you okay? Yes? Okay, good. Now move on. So if you have something called product cost, you will also have something called period cost. What is product cost? Inventory cost. What is period cost? This is basically your non-inventoriable cost, which in other word is your operating expense that goes to your profit loss statement. Are you with me? Are you with me so far? So you're seeing two more terms, correct or not? Product cost, period cost. Product cost is fully related to the manufacturing process. Period cost, is it related to manufacturing process? Is period cost related to manufacturing process? No, it is the cost after manufacturing. When you sell, you remember you have advertising expense, carriage outwards, salary of salesman, commission of salesman, discount allowed. You understand? All these comes as your period cost. There is nothing involved with regards to the production. If it is related to production, we call them as product cost. So it is very, very important that you are able to distinguish the difference between period and product. Very, very crucial. Are you clear? Are you with me? In fact, your first tutorial, question number 1, it's a very interesting question whereby they give you a company factory scenario and they will ask you to determine whether it's product or period. Are you guys with me? Can I? Are we together so far? Can I? I'm scared I'm going too fast. Anybody feel you are not following? Okay, good. People at home, are you following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, next. Okay, next is something that you know. Your product cost and your period cost can be divided. Your product cost and period cost can be divided into two different costs, which is variable cost and fixed cost. Sounds familiar? Sounds familiar? Eco 101? Wow, Madhavan, you know every subject I learn. Yes, I know every subject you learn. What is variable cost? What is variable cost? Come on, try. What is a variable cost? Cost that isn't fixed. What do you mean by that? I should have give me a number that you like, 1 until 45. I got 233s here. Tirushin. Yeah. Okay, some more. Okay, correct. But is it only related to production? Not exactly right. It is an open activity. So what is a variable cost? A variable cost is actually a cost that changes proportionately to the level of activity. So as your activity level changes, your variable cost will change. It can be production activity. It can be selling activity. For example, the more I produce, the more direct material costs I incur, correct? The more direct labor costs I incur, the more indirect labor costs I incur, the more electricity I incur. This is from production capacity, yes or no? Same thing, the more my salesman sell, the more commission I have to pay. So this becomes period cost. So basically, whether it's product or period, we can actually subdivide them into fixed cost and variable cost. So what are variable costs? Cost that changes proportionally to the level of activity. Don't use the word to the level of production. It's to the level of activity. Are you guys with me? Yeah. Okay, good. What is a fixed cost? What number you like? 30. 13. Ashraf. Fixed in nature. What is it? You say fixed in nature, is it? Okay, some more? Anyone else? Because a lot of people will say this, fixed cost is cost that is fixed. True or false? Or cost that never change? Or cost that is not influenced by the level of activity? True or false? True or false? The answer is false. Because a lot of people will say fixed cost is a cost that does not change, full stop. No, it does not change over a period of time. After a certain period of time, there can be an increase. Okay, so what is fixed cost? Cost that is not affected by the level of activity over a period of time. So no matter what, my rental will remain constant until it has been decided to be increased. Are you guys with me? The salary of the indirect laborers is assumed to be fixed until a certain level, whereby thereafter it can increase also. Are you guys with me? So when you look into the graph of variable cost, it looks like this, yes or no? And when you look into the graph of fixed costs, it looks like this. Irrespective of the level of activity, the cost remains constant. Are you with me? Can I? Okay, very good. So I move on further. Next one. So now you see, you have direct material cost, direct labor cost. Correct? And these two equals to prime cost. Am I correct? Next one. Then your prime cost, you add with manufacturing overhead, you get total manufacturing cost. Now, what is this total manufacturing cost? Total manufacturing cost is basically the cost of manufacturing process. The cost of my manufacturing process. Now, has the manufacturing completed? Not necessary. It is maybe yes, it is maybe no. Are you with me? Are you with me? I give you a situation here. Produce 100 and completed 100. I'm processing 100 units and I completed that 100 units. It means that this 100 units represents my total manufacturing cost, this one. At the same time, it is also my cost of goods manufactured. Are you with me? Are you with me? So in this particular scenario, in this particular examples, what you see is the cost of manufacturing process and the cost of completed goods is the same. Why? I processed 100, I completed 100. Are you with me? Yes or no? Okay, look at second scenario. Produce 100, completed 90. What does this mean? I was processing 100 units, correct or not? And out of these 100 units that I was processing, did I manage to complete every single 100? Did I manage to complete the entire 100? No, I only managed to complete 90. Correct or not? So therefore, is there some remaining goods that was not completed? Yes. So now you see here, this process is my total manufacturing cost. This one that I've completed will be known as cost of goods manufactured. Okay? And the remaining 10 will be known as 10 that was not complete will be known as work still in process. It will be known as work in process. So, if a question being asked to you, total manufacturing cost equal to cost of goods manufactured, true or false? The answer will be false. It depends on the situation. If you process 100, you complete all 100, then your total manufacturing cost and cost of goods manufactured becomes the same. All right. But if the manufacturing units, you're manufacturing 100, you're processing 100, but you only manage to complete 90 units at the end of the financial year, then it means that 10 more units will be work in process, which will be carried forward to the following financial year as work in process brought down. Are you with me? Are you guys with me so far? Can anybody need time to digest? I give you 1 minute to digest and ask me. Christian? This one cannot see, right? Well, I just realized. Are we okay? Any questions you want to ask me? You see, this is very important. A lot of time, people find, I'm telling you the truth, a lot of find this subject to be very challenging. Because you know why? For me, very simple. If you don't master your chapter 1, you're going to have problem throughout. Because you need to understand different type of cost classification. What is the nature? So that is where you notice I introduce all this. Direct cost, indirect cost, direct material, direct labor, manufacturing overhead, product cost, period cost, fixed cost, variable cost. Direct, what do you call the prime cost, conversion cost, total manufacturing cost, cost of goods manufactured, and also your WIP, work in process. Are we clear? Are we clear? Yes. It will still be under the WIP account, which is an asset. Because you know why? That are inventories that are yet to be completed, which will be completed the next year. So it's part of current assets. So WIP, it's an asset account. You're starting a product which will eventually turn into inventory. Okay? So on a normal basis, when you look into retail industry, you only have one kind of ending inventory. Yes or no? But for manufacturing sector, they have 3 different kind of ending inventory. Number 1, the finished goods by itself. Number 2, the material that you bought and you have not fully used, which is usable, the raw material inventory. Products that you are producing and not completed will be completed next year, work in process inventory. So you will see 3 different kind of inventories under the current asset if it is a manufacturing sector. If you take Giants, 1. If you see Tesco, 1. But if you look at Bata, they manufacture their own shoe, yes or no? They will have 3 different kind of inventories. Are you with me so far? Yes or no, people? Please respond. Yes, okay, good. Now, from now onwards, you're going to see what the slide says about whatever I've just said. Okay? Come, I'll move on quite a quick one. Are you all tired? Tired? I know it is very tiring. I know. To tell you frankly, I've never taught class until 6 o'clock in my entire health university experience. But this semester is. But do you all have a class earlier? 2 o'clock? For class. It finishes only at 3 o'clock. No. Are you free before 3 o'clock? Are you all free at 2 o'clock? Anybody not free at 2 o'clock? Anybody not free? All of you free? Because if all of you are free, I can ask Asuraya, can I bring forward the class 2 until 5? Do you all want 2 until 5? Or you have you? I mean, if you tell me you have a class until 2 o'clock, then you're committing suicide, lah. What is your last class before my class? Oh, okay. Never. We maintain until 1 week more, until they do all the add and drop. We will decide if after the 3rd week, let's say you are free before 2, we can start at 2 o'clock so we can finish early. Because I know you know what's my favorite class time? 8 pagi. I love early morning classes. I know you don't like. Because that's where you're fresh. I don't like any classes after lunch. All right, good. Never mind. It's okay. I shouldn't say that. Learning can be any time, but it's stressful. Now, product cost, period cost, and expenses. Student at home so far, are you all following?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Please ask question, students at home. Okay, let's look at product cost, period cost, and expenses. What are product costs? Costs that are assigned to inventory. Remember, I say product cost is equal to inventory cost. So product cost is always related to your cost of goods sold. And to goods that are either purchased or manufactured for resale. Another term for the product cost is inventoriable cost. Next, period costs are costs that are expensed during the time period in which they are incurred. And expenses are basically the general consumption of assets for the purpose of generating revenue. So this information will always go into your profit and loss as what you see expenses in your P&L. Are you all with me? Can? Okay, now I'm not blind. You can do like that. Can? Okay, next one. Cost classification on financial statements, income statement. This is what I mentioned earlier, correct or not? Product cost is equal to cost of goods sold. If you recall, last semester, you did ACC101 last semester, right? How do you calculate your cost of goods sold? Do I need to calculate my cost of goods sold? How do you calculate? Beginning inventory plus purchases, net purchases, plus all your cost of purchases, minus your ending inventory, you get your cost of goods sold, yes or no? But over here in manufacturing sector, you are not purchasing, you are manufacturing, correct or not? So you don't have the purchase cost. It will be known as cost of goods manufactured, which we will calculate after this. I'll teach you how to calculate. There's a statement how to calculate that. All right. And what is period cost? Period cost is basically operating expenses. Now, what about classifications in P&L? In balance sheet, sorry. For a merchandiser, current assets are basically cash, receivable, prepaid expenses, and inventory. Only one kind of inventory, yes or no? But when it comes for manufacturer, you have 3 different kind of inventory, like what I mentioned: your raw material inventory, your finished goods inventory, and your WIP, your work in progress inventories. All right. Now, why is it important for you to know that? So that you know when we open WIP account, it will be a debit balance because it's a current asset. Are you with me? Okay, good. So you see what is raw material inventory? Materials that are waiting to be processed. What are work in process? Products that are partially complete. And what is finished goods inventory? Completed goods that are ready to be sold. Now, we have different kind of production processes, which we will be learning from next week onwards. How do you describe the difference between building an aeroplane and manufacturing a laptop? Building an aeroplane and manufacturing laptops. The basic similar concept is you're converting into raw material, you're converting raw material into production, yes or no? Okay, but the process of production, is it same or different? It's going to be different because when you build an aeroplane, you will build customized to the demand of the airlines. If you all have taken, I believe all of you have taken flight before. Sitting in AirAsia and Malaysian Airlines and Emirates and Singapore Airlines is the same or not? The materials may be the same, but the design same or not? The cost is not going to. So this is what we call job costing, specific job order costing, which we will be learning next week. Job shop. Next, we have a certain thing called batch and assembly. This laptop that is in front of me and in front of you, your handphone, your spectacles, your water bottle is basically a production in the form of batch processing or assembly, correct or not? So that you can get the similar units anywhere, anytime. Can I get the same laptop outside? Yes, but can you get similar design of aircraft between Malaysian Airlines and Emirates? No, it's uniquely designed, correct or not? So these two are different production processes, which we will be learning in upcoming weeks. Process costing, job costing. Are you with me? Can I tell you how I'm very good in mimicking, you know. I can mimic, I can follow what people do. Assume you are Madhavan. Asking, are you all following, all of you that? Not moving, you know. How should I interpret all of you? You understand my feeling, you know. You talk to your brother, huh? You know what I'm talking, your brother look at you. How you feel? Yes or no? But I don't know. No, I'm not saying I will do it. But I also got feeling. So respond to me lah, can ah? For today, I know, okay, one of the worst thing is with mask, I don't know what even you're saying. So maybe we can do some neck exercise. Last time I tell them in my class, strictly no neck exercise. But now, SOP, yes, you can do neck exercise. You can say yes, you can say no. But please don't look like. And some of you are with mask, you know, I tell you how you look like. And some of you are with glasses. I love to do this. This is how you all look like. Not moving, body not moving now. No smile, nothing. So I wouldn't know how to interpret. I'm telling you, very important. Please take, you see, whatever I say, students won't take lightly. You know when they'll take they will take seriously what I say. After they finish week 5, their test. Oh, Madhavan should have listened to your advice. Sorry, past tense already. Test is already over. Marks cannot be changed. You understand? So I'm telling you from now, don't understand whatever I'm saying, ask me. Can? Okay, moving on. So 3 kind of product costs. That is direct material, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead. So what is direct material? Cost of raw material that is used to make and can be conveniently traced to the product. Example, whatever I've given you earlier for the table. What is the direct labor? Cost of salaries, wages, and fringe benefit of personnel who work directly to the product. Madhavan, direct cost or indirect cost? Direct cost, correct or not? The auntie who's cleaning outside. Indirect, correct or not? Okay. Manufacturing overheads are all other manufacturing costs, which means that whatever you cannot put as direct material, whatever you cannot put as direct labor, you take and dump it into the dustbin called manufacturing overhead. So under manufacturing overhead, you have indirect material, you have indirect labor, and I'm not limiting any other cost incurred in the factory, in the manufacturing plant. All those are manufacturing overheads. Are you with me? Okay, now? So you can see all the given here. Example, depreciation, property taxes for the factory, insurance, utilities, overtime premium. Okay, these two, don't worry, I will teach you next week when I teach you process costing. I need to teach you how to calculate overtime, how to calculate idle time. Okay, a lot of mathematics tomorrow. Next week, sorry. Okay, so you see here, direct material and direct labor, you get prime cost. Direct labor and manufacturing overhead, you get conversion cost. So what is prime cost? The primary cost of the product, the main cost of the product. What is conversion cost? Cost that is incurred in converting product into finished goods. So as I mentioned earlier, you see here, in the factory, we put in material. We get laborers to work at a particular pace. Work becomes into process. When work comes into process, what can happen is products will complete. If it completes, it goes to finished goods. If it doesn't complete, it goes to inventory, carried out. And those inventory that is completed will be sold and becomes cost of goods sold. So next question, how do you prepare schedule of cost of goods manufactured? Now let's see. We have another 30 slides to go. No, all numbers, don't worry. Just follow me. Okay. Let me go back to ACC101. In ACC101, when you prepared your P&L, your P&L was prepared by net sales less cost of goods sold, where you have your beginning inventory plus net purchases minus ending inventory. That is, let's say 10,000, 50,000 and 5,000 equals to 55. So gross profit is 45,000. Yes or no? This is what you did in your ACC 101. Okay, but now in ACC 103, you are looking at manufacturing factories, manufacturing plant. So under manufacturing plant, what they do is they don't purchase. They don't purchase, they produce. So when they produce, we are supposed to calculate cost of goods manufactured. So how do you calculate this cost of goods manufactured? So that is where you prepare something called schedule of cost of goods manufactured for the year ended. Are you all with me? So I'm going to show you the format for schedule of cost of goods manufactured. Now, let me ask you a simple question as a recall. How do you determine the cost of a product? Material, labor, and overhead. So you're going to report these three data into the schedule of cost of goods manufactured. Whereby you have your direct material cost. Now, how you calculate direct material cost? You have the beginning inventory of direct material, let's say 10,000. Then you plus the purchase of direct material, 90,000, gives you direct material available for use. Okay, gives you direct material available for use. Next, you minus your ending inventory of direct material, let's say 20,000. So your cost of direct material used becomes done. Have I calculated my direct material cost? Have I calculated my direct material cost? Done. That's it. Okay. Are you following me so far? Are you following me so far? All these informations are there. Ken, Kautim? Okay. How do you get this beginning inventory purchases? This is something that we look at it next week. We go detailed inventory accounts. We look into detailed material accounts. All right. Next, I've done my direct material. Next, I'm going to add my direct labor. Let's say direct labor is 120,000. So the total will be, you see, unlike material, labor do not have any inventory. Do you hire people and put them in the store and use them when you want? No, right? All direct labors are used, so we incur direct labor costs. So there's no inventory or thorough calculation for direct labor costs, except for the cost you incur in their wages. Can? So, what do you call this 200,000 S? What do you call this 200,000 S? 200,000 is 80,000 plus 120,000, correct or not? So what do you call the 200,000 as? Yes? Prime cost. Very good. Because all these words are very useful. Remember, I told you the terms are very, very useful. Are you following so far? Okay, next one. I continue. Add manufacturing overhead. Let's say I have indirect material 5,000, indirect labor 10,000, factory rental 15,000. Let's say factory utilities 10,000. So in total, how much is this? 40, right? 40, right? Okay, so now I got my prime cost, I got my manufacturing overhead. So prime cost at my manufacturing overhead, I will get something called total manufacturing cost, which is 240,000. Okay, now these are the processes during this year. These are the processes during this year. What if I have some products that I have not completed last year that is being processed this year also, correct or not? So what will happen is I will add my beginning WIP. Let's say I got beginning WIP of 50,000. So I get total work in process become 290,000. Okay, okay. Then end of this year, I may have products that I have not completed, which becomes ending WIP, let's say 30,000. So this 260,000 is my cost of goods manufactured. So this is the amount that will go into my P&L after I prepare my schedule of cost of goods manufactured. Are you all together with me? Do you understand? Can? Any questions? All of you well and fine? Can, huh? Okay, good. So, done? Done. So you can see here, this is the example given by the book. So you have two different examples to see. You have raw material use plus direct labor plus total manufacturing overhead. You get your total manufacturing cost. How did you calculate your raw material use? Beginning raw material plus purchases minus ending raw material. It gives you your raw material used, correct? Next, your indirect labor, your direct labor are all the costs of direct labor incurred. How you get your manufacturing overhead? A list of manufacturing overheads like indirect material, indirect labor, depreciations, utilities, insurance, and the list goes on. These are the total of your manufacturing overhead. So you add all three. You add all three, you get total manufacturing cost. Next, you add your beginning WIP, you less your ending WIP, you will get your COGM, cost of goods manufactured. So this cost of goods manufactured goes into your, see, 415 will go to your cost of goods sold. Okay, 450, correct not? Your cost of goods manufactured is 415,000, yes or no? So that will go into your cost of goods sold calculation. Beginning finished goods plus cost of goods manufactured minus finished goods inventory, you get your cost of goods sold. So now you're able to determine your gross profit. This book calls it gross margin. Doesn't make a difference. Gross profit, gross margin means the same. Then you less all your period cost, which is your operating expenses, and you get your profit before tax and profit after tax. Are you with me so far? Whatever I've taught you will be tested over 2 questions in the test. Will be tested over 2 questions. One is theory, the other one is 100% practical. So your tutorials will definitely be very, very useful. Are you with me? Okay, now? Okay, good. So now We are moving towards the end. So we have something called cost drivers. Now, this impact of cost drivers, I will actually cover for you when I do chapter 5, which is activity-based costing. What is cost drivers? Cost drivers is what drives the cost. What is the factor that influences the cost? For an example, I give you, let's say this is my manufacturing plant. That room, this room, and that room. This whole thing is my factory, okay? When I get my electricity bill, do I get electricity bill for 3 different parts or one building? One building, right? But how will I split the cost of my electricity for my table production, for my chair production, and my cabinet production? It all depends on the production hours, correct or not? Based on the production, there they work 18 hours a day. Here it is 20 hours production, that is 24 hours production. Then obviously that department will absorb more electricity compared to this department and that department, correct now? So the factor that drives the cost or influences the cost become the cost driver. In this case will be the consumption of electricity. Are you guys with me? Yep. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, I see people dozing off. Okay, now. I remember I spoke to you about variable costs and fixed costs. Variable costs are costs that changes when activity change. Fixed cost is cost that remain unchanged even the activity changes. All right. So this is your variable cost timetable pula. A variable cost graph, and this is your fixed cost graph. All this I showed you earlier, right? Correct? Okay, good. And this is your fixed cost, can be this way. Okay, now you observe, this is a very important term. Cost classification, under cost classification for variable and fixed. Variable cost in total, it always changes as activity changes. And for fixed cost, the cost remains constant even the activity changes. But when it comes to per unit, the characteristic changes, whereby variable cost is constant per unit. If the table cost, the material for table is $30, it is $30. It will only change to $60 the moment I produce my second table. You understand? Do you understand what I'm saying? Variable cost, cost that changes according to quantity, production, yes or no? Now, if the cost of my direct material is 30,000 for one table, so $30, the cost of direct material per table is $30. $30 is $30, correct or not? Is the cost going to change? No, because that is how much wood I need. But the moment I produce my second table, is my direct material cost $30 still? Or has it become $60? Because my production has increased. I produce a third table, is my direct material cost 60,000 or 120? It becomes more. You understand now? So per unit variable cost is constant, but in total it changes according to the activity. Unlike fixed cost, in total is constant. Per unit changes. Why? My total rental is 50,000. If I produce 1,000 units, how much is the rental per unit? 5,000 divided by 1,000 equals to $5. You understand? So these characteristics you must remember, especially when you go later part where we do break-even analysis. Are you guys with me so far? Yes? Okay, very good. Okay, this one you can ignore. Okay, next one. We spoke about direct cost and indirect cost. Yes or no? Direct cost, traceable. Indirect cost, not traceable. Correct? Okay, what is the difference between controllable costs and non-controllable costs? Controllable costs are costs that are within the control of the organization itself or factory. Uncontrollable, it is out of the control, which means that no matter what, you will incur the cost. Let me give you a simple example for this. Take your car. Can you tell me, for your car, what is the controllable and non-controllable cost? What are the controllable costs of your car? Do you know car? Car got 4 tires? Okay, what is the controllable cost for the car? Student at home, what is the controllable cost for a car? Student at home, are you there? Student at home, are you there?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. What are controllable costs for a car? What is the cost that you can control for a car? Think. Petrol, only when you drive, petrol go down, correct? Now, only when you use your car, petrol goes down. Some more? Engine oil? What is the uncontrollable cost for a car? You like it, don't like it, you still have to, you don't use your car, you still have to renew your road tax, correct or not? You still renew your insurance, correct or not? That is the difference between controllable and non-controllable cost. A company can control its cost by not operating it, but the license, you still have to renew it, correct or not? So the license become non-controllable costs. So there are costs that are within the organization which is controllable, and there are some which is totally not controllable. Are you with me? Ken? Okay, good. Okay, next we have the opportunity cost. You learned about opportunity cost in economics, yes or no? When will you have opportunity cost? I like number 3 a lot. Chong Jia En. Come again? Trade-off. Okay, good. It's basically when you have limited resources, you will have to forego. Correct not? So that is your opportunity cost. Okay, okay, the rest are not important. Okay, all this not using. Okay, this marginal cost and average cost. I don't want to talk about it now because you learn about this in your chapter 7 when you learn marginal and absorption costing. You see a lot of things you learn now. Job costing, process costing, activity-based costing, absorption and variable costing, budget, variance analysis, cost volume profit analysis. You understand? All these are different tools that we have in providing information to the management. Are we okay, people? Okay, good. Next one, cost versus benefit information. I think you definitely know this, as this was one of the characteristics that you learn in your ACC101. Cost versus benefit. In order to determine whether an information is reliable or not, you will have to measure whether cost exceeds the benefit or cost is lesser than benefit. Always remember, when the cost of deriving information is greater than the benefit, the information is useless. But when the benefit is greater than the cost that you paid to derive it, then it is a very useful info. I give you a very good example. I give her 100 survey question, I give him 100 survey question, okay? Both of them are supposed to stand in front of Aeon Jasco on a Saturday to distribute the questionnaire and check people's response. What she does is, she go back home, she give 10 paper to the father, to the mother, to the brother, to the sister. Hey, help me to fill up. I got no time to go and stand there and collect. He goes to the Jasco, he stands in front, he literally gives everyone and collects information. Now, both of them, I pay them 100 ringgit. Now, you tell me, in this case, cost versus benefit, which is higher? Cost or benefit? Obviously, the cost I pay is higher than the benefit I'm going to derive, correct now? Because the information I derive is totally useless. But over there, although I pay 100 ringgit, I'm getting 100 reliable responses. So in any business, whether in financial accounting or management accounting, when you obtain the information, you must always make sure that the benefit that you derive should be higher than the cost that you spend to obtain the particular information. Are we okay? Yes or no? Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Wow, someone wake up already. You know what? My experience teaching 14 years, this is the first time students, right? I never knew I can be so boring. Was it very boring? Yes, no, or is it so much of theory? Never mind. Any questions? Student at home, any questions? Student at home, any questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. What is the question?
Unknown
Your-
clear.
Oh, clear. Okay. The rest of them? Okay, I will upload the slides. I will upload the slides, and for your tutorials, you will see me uploading these. So you will know which tutorial questions will be discussed next week. Okay, student at home, madam. So you will basically know what questions to do. So next week I'll be doing 2.2, and not only me, your fellow another lecture tutor, Mr. Allen, he will also be doing the same thing. So you prepare 2.28, 2.42, 2.43 and 2.41. Don't worry, I will upload this. I'll upload this, and I also have, actually by right I'm not supposed to do it, but for next week I will upload the question for next week tutorial. But subsequently, please get the textbook. Uploaded into a folder in LMS. I will create here tutorial. Wait, let me go down. Can you see there's a tutorial column here? I'll upload all the details into your tutorial columns. Are we clear? Okay, can I expect for an energetic class next week? Is it a yes or no? Same like studying at home also, sitting online. No, if you want me to be on the board, let me know. I can be on the board. But the only problem is the home-based students, because they can't see whatever I write here till there. It's not clear. That's why I still prefer to go to slides. Okay, students at home, if there's no questions, thank you very much. I will catch up with you next week. See you all. Okay, guys, take care. Take care. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I think this attendance. Yes, thank you. Welcome. Next week, welcome. Please do your tutorials and come for the class, yeah. Especially those of you who are attending my online tutorials. All right. See you all. Bye.